we really learned to communicate with each other throughout the short films. I was able to understand his approach throughout the years. Basically, we spent 8 years working with each other before Son of Saul, and I think it helps, because I guess it's all about communication. It's all about really understanding his intentions, and once I do get him, then it's so much easier for me to help establish whatever we are after. It was never a discussion. It was always a fact that this film must be shot on film. I mean, László went as far as saying that if he can't shoot on film, he wouldn't shoot the film at all. So, which I totally respect. I mean, my job as a DP is to provide the best viewing experience for the audience, and I still believe that 35mm print actually is the best way to watch a movie. And that's what we did. We shot on film, and our delivery was a 35mm print, and that's what we screened, which was, funny enough, did not go through a DI, so it was all photochemical. We used an ARRICAM LT and a 235 for some scenes that were more physically demanding or scenes that didn't require sound. So a 235 was my favorite tool because it's light and it's small and it does everything you need. Every shot was handheld. There was a few shots that were done with an easy rig, but everything else was handheld. The camera focuses on this one mission that the character Saul sets out to do, and we, with the concept, we went to the extreme and said, okay, if that's his focus, then the camera's only going to show that. So the camera's going to stay very, very close, and all the backgrounds are going to be out of focus because of that, and the camera will only show that is related to his mission, burying the boy. And everything else just becomes, in a way, secondary. But obviously, the background and the story is not, you cannot separate the two things. So one wouldn't live without the other. But we felt that, in order to tell this story the way we wanted, that was the right thing to do. We knew that, what we want to do is not to give the audience too much information, but give them just enough information. So we knew that what is going to be out of focus is going to be very, very important. So we tested a lot of different lenses just to see the quality of the out of focusness, if you can use that word, and how different brands and different focal lengths and different T-stops handle the out-of-focus backgrounds. So we did very extensive tests and looked at many different lenses. And some lenses, became just overly painterly, like too beautiful, too pretty. Some lenses were just not interesting enough, or not. I think that's not the right word. Just didn't have that quality that we were looking for. And it's very difficult to talk about the qualities of an out-of-focusness. You can't really translate it into numbers or words. You just have to look at it and say, well, I like it or I don't like it. So we just did a lot of tests comparing different lenses. And at the end, I felt that what the Master Primes gave us was the perfect thing, because it didn't have too much characteristics. It was very plain. It was very simple. It was very... didn't have any, added qualities to it. It was just, super precise that was in focus, and it was a very simple image that was out of focus. And that's what we felt was the best. That didn't have any, again, painterly qualities to it. So it was clean and precise and then very simple. And that's what we needed. Well, we tested that extensively again, both in the exteriors and the interiors, and we ended up shooting all the day exteriors around 2.8 and 2/3, 2.5, and all the interiors were done at a 2. So again, because in the interiors the space were limited, so we had to have even shallower depth of field just to maintain that quality. And in the exteriors we were able to move things further away. So by a higher T-stop, we had a little bit more depth, but it was still working the way we wanted it to work. What I was after is something that's very raw and very, very minimalistic. So my approach was build in as much lighting into the set as I could, because all the shots required for me to turn around in sometimes 360 degrees. So we built in lighting to the set, and also again just used as the very whatever was necessary, and tried to stay away from pretty lighting. So I really went for like bare bulbs and harsh light, just to stay away from something that is too aesthetically pleasing. I didn't want anything that is easy to look at, basically. I mean, if your options are if you lose options, for your creative freedom, I think that's a huge problem. So that is why I feel that, we must have negative, and we must have print film, and we must have labs, not because it's, all projects need it, but because that's a choice that has to stay alive. And it's true, it's true with everything. I mean, I need to be able to shoot on 16, I need to be able to shoot on Super 8, and I need to be able to shoot on 65, and, these options must stay alive. And what is amazing that, because of the digital formats, like all this, the renaissance of the anamorphic is amazing. And it's, you can use those lenses on a 35mm camera, and we will. Our next project will be on 35 and anamorphic. So it is, it's great that these options are kept alive, and I think it's super important not to let those, fade away, because, young DPs will pick up a camera and say, well, I want to shoot on this, and I don't think any company can afford saying no to that, because it's an artistic choice, and it's an artistic freedom that, every company has to support, and I think it's super important.